Well, it's already Wednesday, and I haven't taken video previously this week. I've been mucking around with the NAS that I brought over from the shed. I tried sort of deleting the shares off it and swapping disks around and what have you, and eventually I got to the stage where all 8 disks were up and running. It still showed disk 6s to be suspect, and after all the disks were functional for several days, I thought, oh, okay, well, this morning I recreated the shares and started doing the mirroring across from the primary NAS, and yeah, well, you can see now there are 3 disks which indicate issues. When I first noticed this, the disk 6 had gone from amber to red, saying I've got unrecoverable read-write errors now. Great. Then disk 1 disappeared entirely, which it hadn't done for days, and suddenly decided it had to do it now. And disk 8 has now decided it's got unrecoverable read-write errors, so I just went and unplugged disk 1 and plugged it back in again, and it's now saying it's got smart errors, which are the warning type errors. So it's a concern, but if I can hold this steady and navigate to this other window at the same time here. This is the primary NAS, and it's currently doing the mirroring to the recreated shares on that secondary NAS, and it says it's actually doing it successfully, which is remarkable considering the state of the disks on that machine. I'm finding this a bit hard to see because I've got my glasses off, so I can see the screen on the back of the camera, which means that I then can't see the other screen. Okay, so you can see there we've got of 10.13 terabytes, we've got 346 gigabytes transferred in a bit over an hour, and it's transferring it at just under 100 megabytes per second, which is pretty good. So gig of an Ethernet, wait. So that's got a long way to go, and it's transferring to a set of suspect disks. So yeah, might have to order some more, I think. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I've been doing with that, and watching YouTube videos for the last few days. If you're a YouTube watcher, which obviously you are since you're looking at this, I highly recommend you go and look up The Fat Electrician. He is extremely entertaining, teaching you history that you wouldn't have been taught elsewhere, and it's fascinating stuff. Yeah, so that's one of my channels I watch. And if you're into musical stuff, go and look up Voice Play, as it's generally an a cappella group that they got a guy in there called Jeff Castellucci, who he can sing deep. He can sing a B0, which may not mean much to most of you, but it's almost subsonic. Yeah. So yeah, he can sing deep, and they're very entertaining. They get done up in the makeup and what have you for some very fascinating performances. Yeah, so I'm going to go and see if they're running at the factory, because I need the factory to be open so I can go and grab my welder and stuff from there, because I want to do a bit of welding over the shed sometime. I mentioned wanting to bring the
welded it back here to do some welding. What I got in mind is, well, I can see in here, but the camera doesn't want to see in this shadowed section here, but the where the lock goes in, it has that little bit there that it has to have clearance for. What I want to do is put a bit of steel plate over that just to cover that, to stop the possibility of going in there and attempting to open it by nefarious means. The other thing I did contemplate doing was actually taking off this bolt, but I might leave that there just in case the lock fails at some stage. Oops, you should recognise that. I've added all those fingers, but it likes my right thumb. And we're in.
And in the ongoing battle with the NAS I brought back from the shed, you'll see there that it says discs 6 and 8 are bad to be replaced. Disc 1 has disappeared. And get it in focus. That'd be good if I could do that. I'm not sure I can. You see it's only got what, 190 something gigabytes to go. So it's been running for, what is it? It says 1 day and 2.5 hours. And in that time, disc 1 on the other NAS has gone away, and disc 6 and disc 8 have both said, oh, I got errors, so I should be replaced. However, it's still accepting data to be written to that RAID array, which means those discs must be working after a fashion. So I've ordered 3 new discs, and when they arrive I shall substitute the disc in slot 1 first, and hopefully that will come back and into the set and be rebuilt from the remaining members. And that means I can then pull either one of the other 2 and replace that, and when the pulled one's rebuilt, I'll then pull the 3rd one and replace that. But yeah, it's a bit of a pain. So there's about, what, $450 or whatever for the 3 drives. Yeah, so the struggle continues. These 2 are Aura bass shakers, and they are basically a speaker voice coil without a speaker cone. They've just got a solid rubber pad and they bolt on to something to give you low frequency effects. They only take 25 watts. So I got 2 of those, which in this chair are wired out of phase, because I've got one bolted in on the frame on either side. So yeah, but that's actually much more effective than, you can't see it in the dark, but I've got a subwoofer there. For subwoofers you tend to have things cranked up a bit to get the effect. With this it's fairly subtle, and you can get your low frequency effects without annoying the neighbours. So I bought a kit years ago off eBay from the States. I just took a gamble. It was $300 for a subwoofer amplifier and 4 of these things. So I used to have 2 of these recliners, so I bolted those into the 2 recliners, and that was so successful that later on I bought the subsequent model, which is Aura Bass Shaker 2, which are a 50 watt module, and I've got 2 of those bolted into the sofa. So my original subwoofer amplifier, hang on, I'll see if I can get some light here somewhere. I'm going to find where I put my torch. Ah, there it is. So there's the subwoofer, and there's the additional subwoofer amplifier, which runs to the sofa and to the socket that those 2 would plug into. It's
because this chair will move across there eventually, and I'll have a different chair here with those strapped into it. So I actually needed a second amplifier to support all the load. If I look over here far enough, there it is, hiding behind that tripod leg. That's just a dedicated little subwoofer amplifier, and that's the one that drives what's in my chair. So that appears to be good down to about 20-25 hertz. So that's alright. And using that tone app on the screen there, well, actually it's just a web page, I found that my hearing goes to about 11 kilohertz nowadays, and nothing after that. So there you go, old age. Well, I guess it's no great mystery that after all that mucking about, the 8-drive NAS is saying error. So I'll just have to wait for the new drives to turn up and slot them in and see what happens. But for now, that one's not sort of part of the mix for being used. It's Friday, so I've got to do an upload. It's going to be a short one this week, I think. Things were complicated last week by the fact that I'd done a Windows 11 upgrade on my main computer and no longer could use Video Redo, which is the editor I've been using for probably for a decade or more. It was one I actually got for when I was using PVRs in Australia, and I'd record a program on the TV and say, oh, I'd like to keep that one. So I'd copy it across to my PC and then use Video Redo to chop the ads out of it and then saved away as a MP4. Unfortunately, the guy who created and maintained Video Redo died, so when Video Redo said I need to revalidate after the Windows 11 upgrade, he couldn't do that because there was no website to do it against. So now I've got to use a different editor. So that was a bit of a learning curve last week. I've had a bit more of a fiddle around, and I've managed to put something together. I do have a notebook computer that has Windows 11 and has a copy of Video Redo that was validated before the website went away, so I could use that. But unfortunately, that notebook computer only has Wi-Fi. There is no sort of physical LAN connection. So another thing I've ordered is a USB 3 plug-in that has some USB 3 sockets on it and a LAN socket. So I'll be able to hardwire that into my LAN, get some decent speed out of it. Because trying to do firstly copying the video clips across to it, doing the editing, and then copying the result back to my NAS, too slow. So I've been using this other video editor, which is where are we? Can we zoom in far enough to see? Focus. It's called Video Proc. But yeah, so I've learned how to use that one. Not too hard. I also learned that the image stabilization on the camera helps a lot, because I seem to have developed a tremor in my hands nowadays. Just one of life's joys getting older. Yeah, so in this video so far I have mentioned the Fat Electrician, Voice Play, and that app for checking out notes and generating them on your computer. I will include links to all those in the description box for this video.
I shall tack this bit of video on the end of my thing I've assembled so far and do an upload for you. Hopefully you'll find something useful in there.